Hello, everybody. Welcome to a live mini masterclass with your host, the copywriter with the most, and your coach who's going to help you write copy that converts with your ideal audience. My name is Terry Schilling. Welcome, everybody. To anybody joining live and watching the replay, hello. So glad that you are here and watching along. I am live in my Facebook Copy Co-op group. I want to promote this to anybody watching across the internet. To join this group, we got a ton of great writers, entrepreneurs, small business owners, sharing resources, learning how to write copy, that connects and that converts and that's engaging. And yeah, it's just a really fun conversation, fun group to be a part of. I'm really happy to everybody who's joined. We're reaching about 300 members right now, which is really cool. But so definitely check out that group. But today, if you're watching, you guys are here for this live mini masterclass of Tone of Voice 101, how to write copy that connects with your audience. Now, I do get this question. I even ask questions of people who join my Facebook group. What's one of your biggest struggles when it comes to copywriting? And one thing that people talk about, or a common one, is that tone of voice. It could be struggling with balancing a executive and professional voice compared to what employees want to hear. So it could be some internal communications. It could be, how do I know what tone of voice is going to resonate with my audience? How can I be confident in this, right? Or it could be just really trying to make sure that I want to make sure that the tone of voice is the right one. Maybe my client doesn't agree with it, but I think this is right. I want to go over some examples of how you can, really sway their mind about why this tone of voice is the right fit for the audience and for your brand. So I'm going to have some presentation. I'm going to share some other websites for examples too as we go in here. Anybody watching along, you want to say hi, say hello, ask questions. Would love to your input, but let's get right into this. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Give me just a second here. We're going to open up the tab here, the tone of voice presentation. We'll share this with everybody here. Might not go on the first page. Of course not. Tone of Voice 101, again, how to write copy that connects with your audience. What is tone of voice? Let's define this really quick for everybody. Your brand's tone of voice is how you communicate your message to your audience. This is from copyhackers.com. To any beginning copywriters, Copy Hackers has tons of great resources, but tone takes a statement and either breathes life into it or sucks the life out of it. Great explanation there. And Copy Hackers also references how your message is what you're saying and the tone of voice is how you're saying it. So that's really kind of where the foundation of my definition and best way I define it is, it's that how you communicate your message to your audience. As we go along here, let's go, how do you create the right tone of voice for your brand and audience? So this is a big one. Or no, hold on, let's go. Why is your tone of voice important? Skip the slide, my apologies. Tone of voice is important, and sometimes I think it gets overlooked by a lot of companies and brands. And I think that's why, as a copywriter, I like to promote brand messaging services to companies to help them get this foundational messaging. That way we can have some consistency across their website, email marketing, social media platforms. And I'll get into this a little bit later. But tone of voice is important because it makes the reader feel something, which triggers a behavior in the hopes of getting a reward for themselves. This is behavior psychology right here, everybody. We are talking about there's an action, there's something out there. Maybe it could be a noise. Maybe it could be being something taken away. There's something that triggers somebody, like an emotion. And with copy, certain messages can trigger like a certain memory. Again, certain emotions, and then that triggers a behavior, which is clicking the now button or a sign up now, or, subscribe to the email list. And then the reward is getting some information, getting some value there, right? And people buy because of our emotions, right? We buy the new Jordans because it makes us feel cool. We buy the Ring, the Ring doorbell with the video camera. We buy that because we want to feel safe. We buy these things out of emotions, whether you feel safe, whether you feel joy, all these different, psychological triggers and these emotions. So that's a big reason why tone of voice is important, because you want to trigger those emotions and sell to those. It also makes your copy enjoyable to read. Nobody wants to read blocks and blocks of copy. That's just boring and it gets stuffy. Having that tone of voice, whether it's friendly, whether it's dependable, it's energetic, People can really get that from your copy. And that's why I think tone of voice is another reason why it's so important. Helps readers get to know you, like you, and trust you, which is huge because we want this likability factor. That's why we have so many brands in our lives. It's why we use Apple or Android. It's why, again, you maybe wear Nike or Adidas. There's that likability factor, and we trust them. We feel taken care of. And that tone of voice, that's a big part of it, of how they market and communicate their message. And then also touch on that, tone of voice helps make you memorable. People will have positive feelings when engaging with your brand. A great example of this is Wendy's Twitter. That's a great example of their tone of voice. They are a fast food chain, but they are memorable because of their witty, kind of sarcastic tone, but they can also be empathetic too. I even just want to even share, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here real quick. I'm going to go back here. And I am going to just show you what the Wendy's Twitter feed really quick, what it's at right now. Let's find it here. Let's share it. Wendy's, we like our tweets the same way we like to make our hamburgers, better than anyone expects from a fast food joint. So it doesn't sound like a lot of other fast food chains or any restaurants. And look at just kind of how like witty they are, and just, really blunt and in your face, trying to learn a new magic trick. Please play along. Okay, pick a number between 4 and 4. Now pick it 3 times. Now that you're hungry, see you in the drive-thru. Nailed it. They have this new 4 for 4 for 4 promotion going on at Wendy's. And so that's, smart, on tone, on brand marketing for them. They always are roasting McDonald's and Burger King. Again, I thought Wendy's is a good example of how your tone of voice can help you become memorable. It's like when you think of what is some of the best Twitter accounts in fast food, I promise you majority of people will say Wendy's. So let me get back to, let's get back to the presentation here, guys. I'm going to go back and forth. Facebook user, just a bunch of fire emojis. I don't know who that is. It's probably my buddy Dan Marzullo because he likes doing that. I can't see who that Facebook user is. Quick note, if you're in the Facebook, yep, look at it. It's Dan Marzullo. He just said it. But if you're in the Facebook group watching now, you guys can click on the link and just add in your name so then your name shows up when you comment. All right, let's get back to the presentation here. So again, we went over why tone of voice is important for you. Now, how do you create that right tone of voice for your brand and audience? Now, again, some of this may be internal marketing and internal messaging, right? So we want to make sure that the tone of voice comes through in emails, comes through in those internal, flyers, brochures, those documents to inform the employees. But also too, it's a big consumer facing aspect of it, the tone, connecting with your audience in the right way. And yeah, I mentioned that I get some questions. It's like, what if I disagree with my client in the tone of voice? What if they are really too technical and professional and I think we can be conversational? Well, here's where I want to give you some examples of how you can do some market research of competitors, of current customers, and let your clients know, I'm confident that this tone of voice is going to be the right fit, because look at how customers are talking about our product and our brand. Look how competitors are. Look at these reviews. You can build some proof. And I think this market research and some of these exercises are super important in determining what your tone of voice is going to be. So I touched on it. First one, talk to your current customers or followers if you're a personal brand, of your audience, if you have a group, if you have people on Twitter and Instagram. How did we do? How did I do? What words best describe, when you see my post or when you engage with our brand or when you got that email. And if you're an internal company, have the, if you're a company doing with internal employees, ask your employees, what best adjectives, describe your experience working with us or what we do. And then you guys can really expand on that. And just, again, once you get some of these reviews and how customers are talking, really listen carefully. Are they using any type of slang? Are they really more aspirational about your company? Are they more friendly? Are they being like, oh man, like, dude, your content is so dope. I learned so much. This is great. How are they speaking about you? And I really think you can use that in your copy. I think a lot of good companies do that. Next, research competitors. And I have here, do a content audit of their business. I'll be honest, I got this from Copy Hackers too. Another great, like I said, great resources. But what I've seen they do is you have like an exercise where you look at your competitors, maybe take like 4 or 5 and look at their call to action and they're like maybe their headline and subhead on their homepage and write out what that is. And then again, I think that call to action is super important. What are the big offers that they're talking about? Is it a free trial? Is it straight to buy now? And then you can go on and look at some of their reviews of those businesses. And here I talk about more of that market research here. And if you're looking at competitors and you're writing these things out, go to Etsy and look up your industry. Go to Capterra if you're a more SaaS software company. They have tons of online reviews there. Udemy is great if you're selling courses, if you're a personal brand, and let's say you specialize in email marketing or you specialize in social media marketing, copywriting. You can look up courses on Udemy there, and then you can go to reviews. Actually, let me show you an example here as we get back here. See if there's any other comments. Dan Marzullo, coming in hot. Content audits are the bee's knees. Look at this guy. Handsome man. He is my copy partner in crime. If you guys do not watch the Copy Corner with him and I, check it out. I think he's being too gracious watching along here right now. Well, let me share my screen of a course from Udemy, as I referenced here. Now, I just looked up when I did this in email marketing. I typed that in, and I wanted to highlight this part here because I just went down all the way down to the screen and started reading reviews of the course. This one's from Jennifer Galloway. This one was informative, kept me on the edge of my seat for how to get to the next step. Can't wait to add this web design or to my web design business. But look at this, edge of my seat for how to get to the next step. That tone is really informative. It's friendly, kind of a little bit edgy, no pun intended, on the kept me on the edge of my seat. Like, you can use that language in your copy, maybe in a subhead or a headline, and then just go along and see what these reviews are. Look at this. This one was only 2.5, very informative with good examples, not too much meat there, but go and maybe read those 3 or 4 star reviews, because those ones are where people liked it, but there was something missing and they may be really honest with you. But again, look at how customers and people are talking about it across the internet in real life. I think you'll get a lot of great information there on what the tone that you guys can focus on. And now let me switch back to the actual presentation here, everybody. This is pretty flawless, right? This is seamless. We're doing good here. We're all having fun. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in here right now. I got a handful of watchers live. Again, so we talked on market research, internal exercises for your personal brand or company. And this is a good one because what I like to do here, let me go to the next slide. Imagine your perfect customer. How do they write? Put yourself in their shoes. How do they consume content? How do they talk to friends? What type of phrases would they like? Write this out, mind map this out. I think it's really important if you write it down, seeing those tangible sentences, writing it out, holding that pen and paper, or if you want to type it out in Evernote or Google Docs, that's fine too. Think of the brands that you enjoy, that maybe even not competitors, but what makes them stand out, right? What is their tone? Because it doesn't always have to be so funny and witty necessarily like Wendy's. It could be really more, informal or formal. And if you're a luxury high-end brand, look at what the brands that you like who are in that high-end elegant space, what they're doing. I'll show you some examples of that here shortly. This is a big one. Brainstorm adjectives that you or your clients like. Reach out to your client if you're a freelancer. What best adjectives describe your brand and describe your personality, and then expand on that. So if they say friendly, innovative, witty, what are some ways of how you can do that? Right. And I'll get back to this one. I just wanted to share this last bullet here because I reached out to Twitter to a few people, and one Twitter follower replied with, ask the client if a character from a TV show or movie could narrate their brand. Who would it be, or a combination of? So I thought that was really interesting. If you think about your personal brand, or if you're a client, who would narrate that? And then maybe just watch some YouTube videos of them. How do they talk? How do they, carry themselves on screen and on interviews? And think of that tone of voice. If that's what they think, I think that would be, super helpful in determining what the best tone of voice is that's going to connect with your audience. But really, guys, it goes back. I'm just going to stop sharing here real quick. It goes back to really doing that research and determining who your clients and your target audience really is, and get to know, what they like, how they write, how they consume content, as I referenced. And just reading online reviews can really get some of that customer language. I do want to share some fun examples. So let's say if a client comes back to you with some adjectives, and let's say that, they want to be empathetic and funny, right? Now I want to show you a company. It is called Who Gives a Crap. I know my buddy Dan Marzullo will like that one. but it's basically like a toilet paper subscription service, and they're out of Australia. So let me show you what this is. Who gives a crap? Delivered to your door, well, to your front door, because to your bathroom would be creepy, right? It's a good headline, and it's a benefit delivered to your door. You can get their tone of voice, relatable. They know who their audience is. People who don't, take this subject of poop and crap seriously. There's a lot of people out there. They're comfortable with it, so they have fun with it. Talking crap. I love this. This is their blog, Talking Crap. And then even some of these other banners here, the reason behind every role, they keep it on brand there. See your impact. Obviously, they give back to different communities. We've just donated $5.85 billion. Even their about page is super cool, and it really gives you a good idea of what the tone of voice is. And again, I imagine these guys did a lot of research on their customers, read reviews, asked them for feedback. We love toilet paper. Sure, we love puppies and sunny days and walks on the beach, but our real love is toilet paper. Why, you might ask? Leaves us curious, and then it gets right into it. So a good thing is they keep their friendly and empathetic and fun tone on the headlines and in the subheads. And I think that's super important, because you don't really have to keep it tonal everywhere else here, because here they just get into some stats as we're looking, but we really love, 2.3 billion people across the world don't have access to a toilet. You don't have to keep it so tonal and not, and be funny all the time here. I think they do a really good job of that. I want to show you guys some examples as well. Some examples of some more maybe some boring companies, if you will, not so much exciting. I looked up Chicago insurance companies, and I want you to see a difference in the tone of voice here, because sometimes you're going to write for clients like this. You're going to write for some B2B companies. Maybe it might not be the sexiest topic, right? But I want to show you some different examples here. We are sharing screen machine today. This is fantastic. Here is one, First Chicago Insurance. If we're looking for tone of voice, if they came to me and be like, we want something consistent, look at what we got going on now. Well, you don't have much happening here. Select a product to get information or a quote. They have some reviews. When it comes to insurance, we have what you need. Again, doesn't really inspire emotions. It doesn't really inspire us to reach out to them. Why should I use your insurance? There's no benefits here. Even look at their company history about page. Look at this box of just text, and we really can't get an idea of what their tone is. It even just company history about First Chicago Insurance. There's no big benefit in the headline here. And then it goes into the company was founded. Pretty basic stuff from a tone of voice standpoint. You really don't get a good idea of what they're doing. And so then I want to share another insurance company that might give you guys a better example of what it could look like here. And this one's from Principal. How we're helping in uncertain times. So I feel like their tone of voice is really more dependable and friendly, right? We want to be, so that could be adjectives that we come up with. Well, we're dependable and we're friendly. We're neighborly, right? How we're helping in uncertain times. Clear answers to your questions. So they're really focusing on the customer. Who's reading this? Uncertain times, you're keeping it relevant to COVID-19. Find a professional in your area, get help budgeting, planning your retirement savings, and protecting what you've earned. So they're not trying to be funny. They're not trying to be sarcastic. They are a dependable insurance company. They're being friendly, and they're keeping that tone across it. And it's short and concise copy. And I just thought they did a really good job with this in determining that kind of tone of voice and keeping it pretty consistent throughout. Now, let's say that you may be a B2B company and you want to be more energetic and dependable, right? I think Basecamp does a great job of this as well. I've used Basecamp for a handful of projects because some clients use it. But look at this, the all-in-one toolkit for working remotely. So they shifted really their focus on working remotely because of COVID-19 and people working from home and working remotely a lot. And look at this. This is their tone. It's really informative, but it's also pretty conversational. Before Basecamp, you're wondering how you'll quickly transition your team to remote work. People are stressed. Work feels scattered. Projects are slipping. We're triggering some emotions here about how tough it is before, wondering how we're going to do this with our team now that everybody's working remotely. And then after Basecamp, Soon you'll be feeling like, hey, we got this. Everything is organized in one place. Our team's working together efficiently, even though we're apart. We're all on top of things. There's a sense of calm that's setting in. Give Basecamp a try. So they're not even forcing this on you. That's a big part of their tone right there. It's like, it doesn't say buy now. It says give Basecamp a try. And then even throughout here, just their website is really nice, keeping it on tone. These little snippets here, see what happened when, no meetings required, use dedicated tools to discuss, plan work, one place, not all over the place. So again, they determine what these adjectives, they expanded on it. Here's how we're going to talk and connect with our audience. We're going to be empathetic to their problems. Because of COVID-19, your company is likely scrambling to figure out how to transition to remote work. It may feel daunting, but you're in the right place with Basecamp. I love this line, one place, not all over the place. I've never seen that. It's like one place for your work, for everything you need. I really like this line here. So I thought Basecamp was a great example of that for you guys as well. Now, one last share, I promise you, because I've had a question too about like, what if I work for like these high-end brands and luxury brands? Like, how can I determine to be more, what's the best tone of voice for that? Do I keep it short and concise? Do I just really be too, conversational? Can I have some fun with it? Like, yeah, you can add some fun with it, but think about what your competitors are doing too. Make sure that you research them and see how other ones are talking about and see how you can fit in that place, in that marketplace. But I want to show you one of a luxury, high-end, elegant spa in Chicago. So let's say the adjectives are high-end elegance. And it just really kind of triggers expensive. So how are we going to sell to this audience? How are we going to get people to pay this price and reach that audience in the right tone and connect with them? Connect is really the word of the day in this presentation here. So let's go to the Peninsula Spa in Chicago, a popular hotel here in this great city that I call home. Big thing what you see with luxury brands and their tone of voice, tons of adjectives and long sentences. They want people to really feel something here in that high-end target audience. So just even take a look at this. Revitalize your mind, revitalize your body and mind, body, and spirit. Extensive menu, modern and timeless treatments. What else we got? Holistic aromatic oils, an enriching results-driven massage. So not even say a relaxing massage, an enriching results-driven massage. This exquisite spa, so it's not like our spa, the exquisite spa is completed by amenities, a bunch of other things like that, treatment and products, visibly radiant results that are rich in like marine biotechnical extracts, highly personalized to achieve immediate and long-lasting results. But see, like that resonates though with their audience. That's their tone of voice. They're really going high end, and that's what you see a lot. So they're keeping that, and they're using good word choices there. And I think a lot of audience people reading this, immediate, long-lasting results. What did I say earlier about the enriching, results-driven massage? That sounds, pretty nice. If that's what if you're going to pay top dollar, you want results-driven, you want to be enriching, right? I imagine you would. And so they're using those words. And again, I think they do a really good job of that. And so those are some examples, guys, for tone of voice. I don't just want you guys to look at me talking about tone of voice. But yeah, I just want to share some examples for you. Want to get back to the presentation. I think I may have just lied to you because I said I was done sharing, but I have one last slide for you on this. Let's go to final notes on tone of voice copy. And I can share this presentation with you if you guys want to go back and look at these exercises that you can do. Write that out like the client, or if a character from a TV show or movie would narrate their brand, who would that be? But final notes on tone of voice copy when you're writing this. Not every sentence needs to have that specific tone of voice. Headline and subheads are key. I think you should definitely include that tonal aspects there. But features and benefits, maybe the body paragraphs of an about page sometimes, or maybe, when you're talking about features and benefits, those can be straightforward. Get to the point there. Hit the points that the customer wants to hear, those benefits about how they can improve their life by using your product or service. Be consistent across all channels, the pages, the emails, social platforms, because you don't want them to click an ad for you or get an email subject line that was really funny, and then they go into it and it's really boring and it's just blocks of copy in the email, or they see your homepage or landing page and then they go to your about page and it's like that one example I showed you, just tons of company history where you just feel like, I don't want to read this at all. Be consistent with that. So avoid inconsistencies as well. The opposite of be consistent. Have it feel authentic to your brand and industry. Don't force like a ton of wit and sarcasm. If you're like an insurance company, or if you're like working for like a health brand, that's really important. Like you want to be serious and informal and informational there. So you don't want to necessarily poke fun about what you're doing. So, be self-aware in that case. If you picture your audience saying it, you're on the right track, right? Again, do that, customer research, and poll them, ask them questions, have them fill out a survey, see what they're talking about how they talk about your brand. That would be really helpful in determining a tone of voice. And again, if you get some of these examples, you can go back to your client and be like, I think this is the right fit, proves your point. And then if you're doing some internal marketing communications, like if you're balancing out that professional executive tone of voice to what your audience wants to hear, poll your employees. How are they talking about it? Are they all stuffy? It's like you guys can have some fun with them and use a specific tone of voice that feels more genuine and authentic. A big thing with tone of voice is it needs to feel authentic. You don't want it to feel forced at all. And don't get too cute and busy. Tell a story, be tonal across like your headlines and subheads, but at the end of the day, get to the point. Don't just continue to push your tone of voice and be like, okay, this guy is just like all over the place. It's like, take yourself a little bit seriously at times. It's like you can have some fun, but then get to the benefits. What's in it for the reader? Don't lose sight of that, of how you can help your audience. And guys, that is what I got for you. We got some questions rolling in. Shay, let's see what you got here. Very helpful question while watching. When doing website copy, are you hired to only come up with the written words for a company's website, or do you include the design changes, additions, and photos? That's a great question, Shay. So for me, it really just depends. If they ask me if I can do that and I feel comfortable, I say yes, I can, but I include, or I probably will increase my price in that aspect of it to include some of that. But what I like to do when proposing website copy is I like to include actually creating a homepage or wireframe mockup for certain pages. So I've been using a tool recently called Draftium, where I can create a free template. And again, Shay, thank you for your question. I create a free template and I can put in their copy. So the homepage that I come up with, those written words, I can put it in for them to see how it looks like. The features, I can put in there, the subhead. I do offer that because I've noticed too that it really limits edits and the clients really like it. It's easy to give to their designer from a design standpoint. I try to find a template that looks like their current website or the design maybe that they have mocked up already. But that's super helpful. And so, yeah, the design changes, I'm not a web developer or designer. It's not my expertise, but I think even just having, creating that wireframe and Shay, it's a super easy tool to use where you can just plug in your copy and it just gives them a different visual than just staring at a Google or Word doc of your copy. Because that's what I used to do. Just like breaking it down, formatting in a certain way. But now I'm starting to use that more and then do screen recordings too, to give more direction, behind it of what I'm doing. So thank you so much for your question. I'm glad you found the Tone of Voice 101 mini masterclass helpful. Yeah, guys, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and wrap up here. But thank you guys so much for watching. We're approaching 30 minutes. It's one of my longer mini masterclasses. I feel like I need to take a deep breath and relax, have a sip of water. But I know I shared a lot with you, but I hope those examples were really helpful for everybody. And yeah, guys, I'm really enjoying this, trying to get back to you every week, delivering a masterclass or delivering a new video on copywriting and marketing tips, maybe some freelance marketing tips for the freelancers out there about how to grow your business. But thank you for coming in and watching live and the replay on the YouTube and Facebook Copy Co-op group. I really appreciate all of you. And as always, love what you do, proceed with passion, and I will see you in the next mini masterclass. Have a good day.